All right, please be seated. Members of the jury, have you arrived at a verdict? Okay. Will the deputy please retrieve the verdict forms and provide it to me for review? Would Miss Potter please rise? I'm now going to read your verdicts as it will appear in the permanent court records of Hennepin County. In the matter of State of Minnesota versus Kimberly Potter, court file number 27 CR 217490, we, the jury, on the charge of manslaughter in the first degree while committing a misdemeanor on or about April 11, 2021, in Hennepin County, State of Minnesota, find the defendant guilty. And the verdict was agreed to at the hour of 11:40 a.m. and signed by the jury person on 12/23/21. The verdict on count 2 is we, the jury, on the charge of manslaughter in the second degree, culpable negligence on or about April 11, 2021, in Hennepin County, State of Minnesota, find the defendant guilty. And that verdict was agreed to at 10:30 a.m. on 12/21/21. Members of the jury, is this your true and correct verdict? So say you one, and so say you all.
Yes.
Okay, you may be seated. All right, I am now going to poll the jury. Juror number 2, is this your true and correct verdict?
It is.
Juror number 6, is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes, it is.
Juror number 7, is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes, it is.
Juror number 13, is this your true and correct verdict? Oh, it's juror 11. And juror 17, is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 19, is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 21, is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 22, is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 26, is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 40, is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 48, is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
And juror number 55, is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes, it is.
Members of the jury, when you first came into the courtroom, I told you that jurors are the heroes of our judicial system. Well, the 12 of you are our heroes in this case. You might remember that there was a question on the questionnaire that asked whether you wanted to be on this jury. You were to check yes, no, or maybe. A number of you checked no or not sure, and a few of you checked all three. But when I asked each of you if you would be willing to serve if the party selected you as a juror, you all said yes. You said yes even though we are in a pandemic with Omicron spreading in our community. You said yes even though you had concerns about serving given the nature of the case. You said yes even though you knew you would be sequestered during deliberations and away from your loved ones. And you said yes, even though there was a chance that this case could have lasted past Christmas. You were willing to sacrifice much because you believed in our justice system. And then you went into deliberations, and each of you brought with you your common sense, individual perceptions, and life experiences, and you came to an agreement on the verdicts. You did your duty. I'm so proud of you. You should be proud of yourselves. Without civic-minded citizens like you, our system of justice could not function. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your sacrifices. I wish you all a wonderful holiday season, and may the peace and beauty of the season be yours throughout the year. At this time, I'd like you to go into your waiting courtroom, and I'll be in just a moment. I'd like to thank you personally and to answer any questions that you have. Okay? Okay, please be seated. All right. Counsel, we have to pick a date tentatively for sentencing. So for in custody, we'll be taking Ms. Potter into custody and holding without bail. So what is 3 weeks out? I think we probably want to do a tier 4.
So we will be looking at January 13th or 14th. We can do 11:30 on either day.
For sentencing?
For sentencing.
Your Honor, you want a pre-sentence report?
Yes, I'm having a PSI report done.
We are not available on the 13th. I believe we could do the 14th.
I'm in trial the week after that, and it does seem to be a little accelerated given the seriousness of the decisions you're about to make. So later in January would be our preference. We also would like to talk about the bail issue with you before you decide it, before you make a decision to take her in.
All right, I'll hear you out.
Go ahead, no.
You know, I think it'd be easier for the court reporter if you went to the podium.
I'll go after you. We both say a little bit, Judge.
Yes.
Well, there hasn't been a motion. I anticipate they would file a motion, but this arguendo, they're going to file a motion to revoke her bail. We will be filing a motion for a dispositional departure on the case. She is amenable to probation. Her remorse and regret for the incident is overwhelming. She's not a danger to the public whatsoever. She has made all her court appearances, including all appearances in the court. It is the Christmas holiday season. She is a devoted Catholic, no less. And there is no point to incarcerate her at this point in time because, A, you haven't decided what the sentence is going to be. B, the dispositional departure arguments are quite strong on this case. And C, it's not necessary for the preservation of public safety. So for those reasons, she need not be incarcerated whatsoever pending sentencing. You certainly can do it after sentencing, but this is a rather unique case of someone who has law enforcement experience and was never in trouble all her life and is 49, which is beyond the age of most defendants that you see. Plus, she has deep roots in the community and her family's here, and there's no evidence that she would flee. So we respectfully ask you to change your mind as to whether she needs to be incarcerated right now. I know Mr. Gray has a couple comments too.
Your Honor, her bail right now is $100,000. She's got that posted. She's not going to run. She obviously is not going to commit any more crimes. She's been convicted of an accident. She's been convicted of being reckless. I just would like to be able to, with Paul, file a motion for dispositional departure in this case. I think there's other facts that didn't come to light during the trial that are important also about Kim Potter and about this case. So I respectfully request that you release her on her $100,000 bail, and that'll make it easier to do the pre-sentence report. We'll get people sending letters on her behalf. And I would ask for a sentencing sometime after, if you release her, sometime. I start a trial January 20th. It should be over by February 20th, I hope, sometime in late February. And ask that my gosh, she's got a $100,000 bail out, Judge. But, she's not going to commit another crime. She's not going anywhere. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Frank.
Thank you, Your Honor. We do request that the defendant be taken into custody. The convictions here are for manslaughter in the first degree, manslaughter in the second degree, based on the death of Daunte Wright, a young man. In other words, it's a case that involves a death. They are very serious charges. It is customary for defendants to be taken into custody upon a guilty verdicts for those level of crimes, and we don't think this case should be any differently. Your Honor, we also have learned that the defendant is not living in the state. I don't know if that was known and provided for in the original conditions of release, but it presents obviously an aggravating factor for allowing her to remain out of custody. So we are requesting that the state remand her into custody and withdraw any bail or conditions of release. Your Honor, we do have the Blakely issue to resolve, and we would be asking some direction from the court on whether we should submit written arguments or proposed findings, or how the court exactly wants to address that. It would be good to have those findings, of course, for the actual sentencing hearing, and we would request a PSI as well.
Judge, may I respond?
Yes.
It's a serious crime, I understand that, but both of those crimes, there's no intent, no criminal intent. It's reckless and culpable negligence. Many times in my career, I've had defendants convicted of culpable negligence. I don't think I've ever had a reckless one, but it's an unintentional crime by somebody with a clear record. And we have a strong basis for dispositional departure. I asked the court to release her on the bail. She surely will reappear.
Okay. The presumptive sentences in this case are commits, and I am going to require that she be taken into custody and held without bail. And I recognize your arguments, Mr. Ng and Mr. Gray, but I cannot treat this case any differently than any other case. So, I think we should probably set briefing deadlines. I know that the defense would like to make a written motion for dispositional departure, and the state has the argument concerning aggravating Blakely factors that we should be briefing. How much time does the defense need to put in their motion for dispositional departure?
At least 1 month. We're backed up. Both of us are backed up on trials right now. I start one on the 20th as well.
Okay.
So at least 1 month from the end of January, preferable.
Okay. Pick a date in January, and I'll give the state what they need to respond.
Well, the January 31st.
January
Yes.
31st, that's a Monday.
Okay. And how long would the state like to respond to the motion, the sentencing motion?
Could we have 2 weeks, Your Honor?
You may, and that date would be, Zach?
February 14th.
Okay. And Mr. Frank, I think that the aggravating factors, we did the Blakely on a unitary basis, so no further evidence would be required, correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
So could you submit your brief on the aggravating factors? How much time do you need on that?
2 weeks, Your Honor?
Okay. And the defense would need until... Okay. And Mr. Kramer, could you tell them what the dates are?
Why don't we do them all on the 31st then? You might as well have an omnibus submission for the defense.
Okay. Do you want to do them simultaneously on the 31st?
That's fine, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. So, you want sentencing pushed back to February? All right, because both of you are late February. All right, let's pick a date.
All right. So we could do anytime in the morning on February 23rd.
Well, I know I'm in trial on the 20th too. I mean, all these cases were backed up because of this one. So late the week after that would be great.
Okay. That'll push us to the first week of March. How about 9 a.m. on March 1st?
Okay.
What day of the month?
That's a Tuesday.
Your Honor, the state's not available that week.
Okay.
Okay. Let's do March 8th at 9 a.m.
I'm sorry.
March 8th at 9 a.m.
We all have a state trial that week in March. If we could move it up a week in February would be better. Please?
So the first week of March, Mr. Frank?
I'm saying like the third week of February.
Okay. Well, we could do it February 18th at 9 a.m.
That's fine.
That is a Friday.
What day?
February 18th.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
February 18th, Judge.
Thank you. All right. Is there anything else we need to put on the record?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right. Okay. Thank you, counsel.
Love you, Kim.
Hello, everybody. My name is Keith Ellison. I'm the Attorney General for the state of Minnesota. At this moment, I ask us all to reflect upon the life of Daunte Wright and who he could have been had he had a chance to grow up. At 20, Daunte could have done anything. Maybe he could have gone into the building trades. Maybe he could have started a business. What we know is that he was a young, new dad, and he was so proud of his son, Daunte Jr. We know that he loved his mom, and he loved his dad, and he loved his siblings, and his big, beautiful family. He had his whole life in front of him, and he could have become anyone. All of us miss out on who Daunte could have been. And no one has missed him more than his parents, Katie and Aubrey, and their children. I'm very mindful today that there will be an empty chair at the Wright family dinner during the holidays, and that saddens me. And once again, I extend my deepest condolences to you. With the jury finding Kimberly Potter guilty today of manslaughter in the first degree and manslaughter in the second degree in connection with Daunte's death, we have a degree of accountability for Daunte's death. Accountability is not justice. Justice is restoration. Justice would be restoring Daunte to life and making the Wright family whole again. Justice is beyond the reach that we have in this life for Daunte. But accountability is an important step, a critical, necessary step on the road to justice for us all. I want to thank the jury for their careful attention and deliberation and for their service to the people of Minnesota. I want to thank all of the witnesses who testified and who came forward with what they knew about this case. I especially want to thank my remarkable team. When I took this case, I said it would be difficult to prosecute because history has shown that trying cases like this one is difficult. This team did not shy away from the challenge, and the people of Hennepin County and the American people and the people of Minnesota, what they saw in the courtroom was the fruit of many, many hours of labor and hard work and planning. For my office, I want to thank specifically Mr. Matthew Frank. I want to thank Aaron Eldridge. I want to thank Eric Miller and David Voigt and Dion Dodd. But this team wouldn't be much of anything if it were not for the amazing work of Joshua Larson, Raul Shaw, and Vernona Boswell. Thank you, Vernona. I also must thank colleagues who did not work on the legal matter, but worked on the community, and that is John Stiles, Keon Dosti, and everyone. So thank you to you all for your hard work. I also want to thank the many staff at the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension who worked on this case, the staff of the Hennepin County Attorney's Office and Washington County Attorney's Office. Specifically, I want to thank Mr. Drew Evans and those who testified in this case, like Agent Phil, who did a fine job and who put in many long hours. We appreciate their service. The next step in this case is sentencing. And all I will say about that today is that we have to look forward to the court setting a calendar date for that hearing. And at that time, we will make our appropriate arguments within the context of the court hearing. I think we have a date, do we not? What is that one? Anybody remember the date? March 8th. My thoughts are also with Ms. Potter today. She has gone from being an esteemed member of the community and an honored member of a noble profession to being convicted of a serious crime. I don't wish that on anyone, but it was our responsibility as the prosecution, as ministers of justice, to pursue justice wherever it led, and the jury found the facts. My thoughts are also with those who work in law enforcement and public safety. We hold you in high regard, and we also hold you to high standards. We don't want you to be discouraged. Your community respects and appreciates you. We want you to uphold the highest ideals of our society and ideals of safety. And when a member of your profession is held accountable, it does not diminish you. In fact, it shows. It shows the whole world that those of you who enforce the law are also willing to live by it. And that's a good thing. It restores trust, faith, and hope. Well, in the words of Danielle Surratt is a noted author who writes on justice issues. Justice exists when all parties exercise their power in a way that is consistent with the humanity of everyone involved and in the interest of the greater good. The humanity of everyone involved includes the humanity of community members and includes the humanity of police officers. And when that standard of justice is not upheld, it must be the job of a prosecutor to step up and step in and attempt to uphold it and uphold the principle that no one is above the law and no one is beneath the law. Finally, my thoughts are with community of Brooklyn Center, residents, elected officials, and police officers, and all communities that hunger for a better relations between police and community and for everyone to get home safe at the end of the day. I hope today's verdict provides a measure of healing for all of them. I thank you, and we can take a question or two.
Charles, as this dragged on to the 27th hour, what was going through your mind and the prosecution team?
That the jury was taking this seriously, that they were going through every bit of evidence, that they were not leaving anything to the side, and that they understood that this matter was of tremendous importance to the Wright family, but also to the Potter family, to the entire community. So I thank them for their service.
Are you guys taking questions?
Let's get Storms. They want questions for the Wright family. Is that okay? Or
Yeah, they can do.
okay, sure.
I want to ask you guys, and we were sitting right in front of you, but what were you feeling when you heard the word guilty, and what are you feeling now? Have you processed it? What's going through your head and heart right now?
Oh my gosh. The moment that we heard guilty on the manslaughter 1, emotions, every single emotion that you could imagine just running through your body at that moment. I kind of let out a yelp because it was built up in the anticipation of what was to come while we were waiting for the last few days. And now we've been able to process it. We want to thank the entire prosecution team. We want to thank community support, everybody who's been out there that has supported us in this long fight for accountability.
What did you think of Ms. Potter when she was on the stand last week?
I'd rather not answer that question.
Well, the truth be told, what do I think? I want to thank her. I'm going to keep it short.
Mr. Ellison, did you expect Officer Potter, former Officer Potter, to take the stand? And do you think that helped or hurt your case?
They said from the very beginning that she was going to testify. They said in jury selection. And she expressed herself immediately after this tragic incident on the scene. So I'm not too surprised. Look, it's a lot. I think it's a good sign that she was remorseful. I mean, what decent person wouldn't be brokenhearted and sad if they were involved in something like this? So I wish nothing but the best for her and her family. But the truth is, she will be able to correspond with them and visit with them no matter what happens. But the Wrights won't be able to talk to Daunte.
With 2 high-profile guilty verdicts this year of police, what do you think that sends a message about police accountability?
I think that juries admire police, they respect them, and they want to make sure that high ideals and standards are maintained.
I'll ask you really quick, you had even a state witness testified that they may have used deadly force in a similar situation. Were you expecting one of your own witnesses to say that, and did you think that was going to be a hurdle to overcome?
I think that you're referring to the officers on the scene. Oh yeah, so I understand what you mean. We did call them. Well, we had confidence in the law and the facts, and we were very confident that Seth Stoughton was going to give clear testimony, and he did. So I think that's pretty much what we have time for now.
Yep. Really quick, what kind of sentence do you think you'll be calling for?
A fair one. Sorry, I can't be more specific.
Great.
But the main thing about sentencing is that the Wright family is going to be able to make a victim impact statement, and the most important thing may be that really for the first time they're going to be able to talk about how this tragic incident impacted them and their lives.
Thanks, we're done.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.